I just want to thank everybody for being here. Absolutely love you girls. I love everything that you guys are doing. I love seeing you working out and posting about it. I love seeing the pictures of your families and everything like that. And I'm just so grateful to have you on the journey with me. I'm so excited to have Tamara speaking today. She will be talking about vision boards. And if you don't have one, this is a perfect opportunity to learn how to create one, what you should include on there, and she'll give some examples. So I'm excited to hear from her. She's one of our Emerald coaches. And I also want to give a shout out to Carolyn for being a success starter.
Yay!
Coming in Emerald, super awesome. We are thrilled for you, so excited. That's so cool. So I'll go ahead, and I don't think we have any other announcements. I think we're going to run a coach sneak peek again like we did last time, where it's like one person a day, because I thought that went really well. What did you guys think?
I like that.
Awesome.
And I think it helps us all come out of our box a little bit too, with going live and doing our videos, and then we learn a little bit more too about what we're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. So we can just assign days, and everybody will have a day. It'll probably start on the 21st. Is that all right with you guys? So
awesome.
In like a week and a half. So we can start inviting to that next week.
Awesome.
Perfect. Okay, so I will go ahead and turn the time over to you, Tamara. We're excited to hear from you.
Yay! Awesome. So hopefully this isn't like 5 minutes long, because I don't know, I tried to write notes, but like that, I just can't do notes. I try, and then I just feel like I'm reading a novel. So what actually inspired me to do a vision board was my mom, because she did one years ago, and she brought it out to try and help her sort of like keep motivated for her weight loss journey and her health journey that she's on right now. And so she gave me this idea to get the girls in my personal challenge group to do vision boards. And so I encouraged all of them to do it, not having any idea like what you even put on one, but I was like, hey, go ahead and make one. I don't know if anybody did, but I didn't when I told them to. And like, for me, that was super horrible because I'm supposed to be leading an example. And so I bought these like big craft papers with the intention to make one, and I cut it in half so my toddler could draw on the other half, and I never did anything with it, and it stayed a blue piece of paper for about 2 weeks. And then I added my vision for life, and it stayed like that for about another 2 weeks because I had no idea what to put on it. I was like, well, like, I don't know what I even want. And so I decided to sit down and like reflect on what I want to see happen in my life. And those are the things that I ended up putting on my vision board. So the first thing that I did, which I encourage you guys to do this for sure, so like take notes if you have to or whatever, and obviously make it your own, but I wrote down 5 to 7 things to focus on that were like the most important things in my life. So for me, that was my family, my kids, health and fitness, my nail tech business, my coaching business, where I want to see our family, as in like my husband and myself with his job because he works away. And so I kind of made those like my focus points of what I wanted, because I really could have put anything on there. But I needed it to be big things, because if they were little things, then those would be the things I'd focus on, and I would just never reach those big things that I wanted to do. And so number 1, what's important to you? Number 2, reading Heather's message that she posted on Facebook about where she's going to be in 10 years. Like that really hit home for me. And I was scared to post that, so I didn't do that story at all for myself. But that was the other thing that I looked at, was where do I want to see these things that are important to me in 5 to 10 years? Like, I don't want to just be sitting where I am now and just moping along. Like, I want to reach these big goals that I have, and putting it out there, you're going to, like, if you keep those your focus. And then the other thing was choosing things and making them your vision and asking yourself what a life without limits look like. And I know that was like one thing that we talked about before, that if you didn't have the finances to worry about, you didn't have time, you didn't have a job, you didn't have all these things holding you back, like what are the things that you would change in your life? Whether they're 5 things or 10 things or 15 things or 20 things, like make those your focus. So I'm going to show you guys my vision board, and I'll hold it up for a few minutes and you guys can like check it out. but this is what it looks like. And I'm like super crafty, so I got all my stickers and like artwork out and like my fancy pens and stuff. And so on my vision board, I'm going to share it with you guys. I have own our own home because we're still currently renting, which I absolutely hate. And that's one thing that I envision is, no, it's not about the money in this business. That's a bonus. But if I can help enough people to put a down payment on a house, like how cool would that be? And the other one is traveling with our kids. We've been talking for years since my husband and I went to Mexico about taking our kids there, and to Disneyland, because my husband went to Disneyland when he was really small. And he wants our kids to be able to experience that. I owe my grandma money from years of borrowing to help get us through, and pay rent when we were and had eviction notices, and like that was just part of what my life was like as a young mom. We had our daughter really early, and we really struggled, and we both worked part-time jobs, and we never ever were in a position where we could have bought our own home, or kept getting kicked out of places because we just couldn't afford what rent was. And so paying my grandma back, definitely. She just turned 90 in June, and so like I don't want to wait until that day comes where she's gone and I don't have her paid back. So that's a huge goal for me. And they don't have to be financial goals. Something else I have on here is always being a positive example for my kids. So having these things in front of me and seeing them all the time, like when I'm feeling super crappy or I just want to give up, or I feel like maybe this coaching thing isn't for me, it's taking too long. I was sharing with Heather that quitting isn't an option, because what is that teaching my kids? Like that when it gets a little bit tough, we just walk away from something. And so I just want to keep being that positive example to my kids, that dreaming big is possible, and like it's okay to do that. The other thing that I have is to be a top coach with an amazing team, bigger than we obviously have right now, because you guys are all awesome. To focus on establishing my nail business at home and not working for anybody else. I don't ever want to work for anybody else. So like this is all or nothing for me. Paying off past debts. Obviously having like an actual home gym in my house is like a must. My husband has talked for years about having our own family business. He loves mechanics. That's what he went to school for. We love the outdoors, adventures. We're always out on the back roads that we both grew up on. And so he would like to run a business where we rent out and do tours with side-by-sides and like off-road vehicles. And so he's talked about doing that for years. And obviously, like, we can't even buy our own house. So how are we going to run our own business? So these are big goals, and I really want to see us do them. And then he doesn't have to be in the oil field anymore, because it's been 5 years now. And I couldn't imagine him missing out on our kids' lives for another 5 or 10 years. And by then, like, both my older kids would be moved out and doing their own thing. And like, then he would be home. And I don't want that. So that's one of my biggest goals. Taking my parents on a trip somewhere, because they're not financially fit to be able to do that. So if I could gift them an experience like that, then that's on my vision board as well. We've been using the same camper trailer for about 8 years now. We've redone the roof on it. We've cleaned mold out of it every year. It was built in the early 70s. It's falling apart. The windows are growing moss. But we've been grateful that we've had it to take our family and go and do things. And so it sleeps 4 people. We have 5 people in our family, and it's very squishy, and we've had a lot of fun. We've had a lot of memories. But our last camping trip, I actually singed off my eyebrows and my eyelashes when I lit the hot water tank. So that was terrifying. And just like little things where it's becoming like dangerous, and that's not fun anymore. And so owning a new camper trailer is something else that I have on our list. And my kids actually said to me today, "Are we ever going to get to go camping again, Mom? You and Dad keep saying you're going to buy us a trailer and you can't afford it." And I was like, you guys are 8 and 11. Like, you shouldn't be worrying about that. And so just to be able to experience those things with our kids, and take that burden off of them. Like, they bring me their piggy banks to be like, "Here, Mom, we're out of milk. Like, you can use my money to go buy milk." And I appreciate that they have that type of heart, but I want to be the one that provides for them. Like, they're my kids, and that's what we're supposed to do. And the other thing that I have on here is always pay it forward. So that's my vision board. And I think I'm going to call it my bucket list for life, because I sort of feel like these are things that I see big red check marks by, like, over the years. So I definitely want you guys to make your own vision board and like share it in our group conversation or whatever. I'll post a picture of mine after so you guys can see it a little bit better. But yeah, make a vision board. I keep mine on my dresser where I put my makeup on. And so like I see it and I read it every day, and my kids have seen it and my mom's seen it. And like, don't hide it. Make sure people see it, because that's going to keep you accountable for reaching your goals too. So yeah, make a vision board. I promise you guys, you'll feel so good after doing it, and like seeing those things that are on your heart and knowing that you're going to be able to accomplish them, whether it's in 2 years or 5 years or 10 years. And like, I just feel like even if it's something I accomplish in 10 years, that's still something that's attainable that I can work towards, and I'm not going to do it tomorrow. And I realize that, but working towards it will help keep me motivated and just be a reminder of why I'm doing this. And the bonus of helping all of these people is reaching these freedoms financially. And like, that's a pretty big deal for a small family who struggles to get by. And when my husband's home from work, it's not always like the funnest time when he's home, because those 10 days we then lose in income. And so I'm so grateful that I at least have this to help us out. And I know that it's going to grow and it's going to get bigger, and I'm going to get to help more people. And then when he is home, like, we can enjoy those days that he's home. And it's not going to be a stress of like where our next jug of milk is going to come from, because providing he works in the oil field, it's never a steady schedule. He could be gone for 6 weeks at a time, and then he's home for 5 weeks. And that full 6 weeks that he worked only helps us get through to that 5 weeks. And so we've never been able to reach any of the things that we want to do. And I've always had them in the back of my head of like, yeah, it'd be so fun to take our kids to Mexico. And it just seems like something silly to talk about, because I never thought it would ever be possible to be able to get to do any of those things. So yeah, dream big. I just feel like you can never dream too big, and then just work towards it.
Absolutely. I love that. That was so powerful. Thank you for sharing like everything on your board with us. And I loved hearing all the details like about your trailer and everything, and wanting to take your kids on trips, and your parents, and paying back your grandma. I mean, you have so many strong whys and so many strong visions. I absolutely love it. So
thank you.
Yeah, and I want you to know that like Success Club trips in Mexico and even Summit, like, you can take your husband and your kids with you, because I know
that's so cool.
Yeah, so like, we're going to Mexico in April, so definitely plan on coming in 2019, and you can take your husband and kids. I know a bunch of coaches do that.
That's so cool.
Yeah, because you can get your room paid for you and your husband. So that's something cool that you could put on your dream board for 2019 for sure. And I love that you talked about how it, even though it doesn't have to be right now, but anytime, in the next 10 years, as long as we continue working on it, that's so important. And for our kids to see us to continue going even when it's hard, because we're going to have tough times for sure. Mm-hmm. So it's so important to not just give up when it gets hard. So thank you so much, Tamara.
Of course. Thank you for letting me talk to you guys.
Yeah, that was perfect. And I absolutely love your board. So let's see, what time is it? It's time to go, but I wanted to unmute Bryn for 1 second, and I want you to tell us your story about the lady who was mad that you didn't tell her about Beachbody.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm actually a hairstylist, so I have a cosmetology license, and there's this cute lady in my ward, in my neighborhood, and she was asking me if I could do her hair, and her hair was like really messed up, so I said, of course. So we were doing her hair, we were just talking about life, and she has hypothyroidism, and she's like, I have absolutely no energy, I'm taking care of my mom, she's going through chemo, and she's telling me about all these stresses of life, and she sees Shakeology sitting up on the counter. She's like, do you do like Shakeology, like she say Beachbody, she's like, do the whole Shakeology thing? And so I told her I do, and I said, okay, hypothyroidism, like, how you changed your diet, you know, how's it? And she's like, oh gosh, it's not good at all. I know. And so I started talking to her. I was like, well, you know, I've heard of people that have really helped hypothyroidism by really not restricting their diet, but going off of most dairy, by taking out a lot of high carb, like white breads and things like that, going off of sugar that really helps. And faster, just some basic questions. And she finally was like, well, why didn't you like post about this on Facebook? I'm like, that's a good question. I was like, actually, my coach is like, I think a little frustrated with me because I don't better. I know on Facebook. And so it was just kind of this wake up call where this lady is like dying for some relief and some answers. And so she's like, well, let's set up a time. I'll come over. We could talk about it and get me all set up. I'm like,
that's so cool.
Okay, but I feel like sometimes we feel like we're pushing a product or we're selling something and not understanding that people are out there looking for answers, and Beachbody is an answer to a lot. And it is because they exercise, they have the year-long exercise, they have Shakeology, they have a simple nutrition plan that they can follow anywhere they go. And so I'm just realizing it's like it fits into so many people's lives that sometimes we take the selling part and make us nervous about it instead of understanding like so many people are looking for this answer and we like have it and we're like, oh no, I'm nervous that you're gonna feel like I'm selling you, and they're like, I'm dying and I can't wake up past 10:30, so I'll do anything. So yeah, that was my story today. She's super cute, so just coming over. So I just have a crazy weekend, so do that. And Tamara, can I also comment about your board?
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. So my husband and I, we do vision board, and I don't know if you guys. It's okay. I'm letting my nerd out. Okay, so my husband is like super into Star Wars. He wanted Star Wars armor. Guys, I'm not joking. Okay, so he wanted Star Wars armor. So I put it on his vision board, and so again, I'm revealing my nerd a little bit. In our closet, we have.
I love it.
Guys, you were way too much about my life. No, we actually are part of a group called the 501st Team, and we do tons of charity events. We go to little kids' birthday parties. But this is part of this had it on our board first, and like I feel like honestly putting it on our vision board absolutely manifested it. Like, or else what were we working towards with like financial goals and saving money and stuff. So sorry.
I love it. And nothing is too silly. I think that's incredible for sure. Like speaking those things out that we want, no matter how silly they might seem, like there's power behind that. Absolutely.
Yeah. Sorry, I was like maybe a little too much, a little too intimate. I don't know you guys that well.
No, that was awesome.
Sneak me into vision boards. They're absolutely awesome and true. Like they work. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. And I love the story about that lady too, because a lot of times we do get caught up thinking, oh, we're just trying to sell, but in reality, it's like such a gift and a blessing to share with others this opportunity. And not even just the fitness and nutrition, but the coaching side of it too. I mean, think about how much we've grown as people in, you know, been in the short amount of time that some of you guys have been coaches. Like how much have you learned and grown? So it's so cool to be able to offer this opportunity to other people. But yeah, dream boards are so real. And Scotty did a call about, like, I think in January, because it's like the start of the new year, he did one about vision boards. You can look on his YouTube channel, but he just talked about how like they really do manifest as you kind of tell the universe or kind of put it out there that this is what you want and this is what you're working on. It helps keep you focused, like Tamara was saying, like when you see it, and it helps keep you focused on it. But anyway, so yeah, I hope you guys all have an amazing night. It was so great seeing you ladies.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. Okay, I'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Have a great night. See ya.
Bye.